Hey everybody, today I'd like to share another story that happened to me. It's real, and I'd just like to start out by saying I'm not a preacher, not trying to start a church. I know that people's testimonies that they've shared and I've heard has added to my faith, and I guess that's what I'm trying to do. And I know that I'm gonna appear to be foolish or making this stuff up, but you know, I'm not. I'm just a truck driver, deliver packages for a living. I don't have any hidden alternative. But anyway, I'm going to share a story with you guys. Anyway, I'll start back at that ministry where, you know, a lot of y'all have heard my testimony, how that I've come to know the Lord. And I used to walk up that mountain in the middle of the night, touch that old dead tree, and I'd run back down, and all the way back down into my bed. Well, it got to the point where the Lord was waking me up in the middle of the night, and He was saying, "Harold," and I was like, "Yes, Lord." And He was like, "You gonna go up the mountain tonight?" And I was like, "Yes, Lord, I want to go up the mountain tonight." I'd walk up that old mountain, touch that old dead tree, scared to death, you know. But I'd run back home and run all the way back down that hill, climb in my bed. Well, time passed on, you know, and I was out walking in town looking for odd jobs. And, you know, I was at that school of evangelism. You didn't make money, you had to eat. So, anyway, I was doing odd jobs and stuff, and I was out in town walking around, and Lord would speak to me. And He told me one time, I was walking around, He said, "Harold." I said, "Yes, Lord." He said, "You see that trash on the ground there?" And I was like, "Yes, Lord, I see it." He said, "Pick it up." So I stooped over, picked up the trash, and picked up some cigarette butts and different things. Got to turn on my defroster. And anyway, he'd speak to me, just little things like that, you know. He'd tell me, "Walk this direction a mile." So I'd walk that way a mile. And he'd say, "Turn, walk the other direction." So I'd just do it, you know. And one day, I was going along, you know, and I was like, "God, if this is really you talking to me, if this is your voice, Lord, let me know in a way that I can understand and truly know that it's you, God. I don't want to serve no voice in my head or some kind of thought or make-believe God, you know, in my head. It's not going to do me any good. And it certainly isn't going to do God any good." So, anyway, I asked the Lord to show me if it was His voice talking to me. Well, time went on, you know, and I was knocking on doors and trying to find some odd jobs, you know, make a little money. And I knocked on this lady's door one day, and she was a little old lady, and I remember her well. Her name was Miss Lovelace, and I knocked on her door, and she answered, and I told her, I said, "Hey, my name is Harold, and I'm out trying to do odd jobs and make a little extra spending money. If you have anything that you need done, I'd be glad to do it, and I don't charge a whole lot." And well, that little old lady, she invited me in her home, and she told me right off. She said, "I'm a widow woman, and my husband's been dead for many years, and there's quite a bit of things around here that I can't do." And but anyway, let this car pass. She told me, she said, "I have a back porch in the back there that needs to be painted. it's been needing to be painted for quite some time. And so anyway, she's talking, you know, and I'm like, yes, ma'am, I can paint your porch. It's no problem. And we start heading back to her garage, you know, and about that time, the Lord spoke to me. And He said, Harold. I was like, yes, Lord. And He said, remember the other day when you asked me if it was me talking to you or your brains? I said, yes, Lord. I remember that. I do. And, well, about this time, Miss Lovelace grabbed a little pint of paint. She's fiddling with the top of it, you know, trying to open it. And Lord was still talking to me. He said, I want you to tell Miss Lovelace that there's enough paint in that can to paint her back porch and her concrete porch. It was concrete. Her back porch, her concrete steps, and a wood bench back there. That I'm going to bless it, and there'll be enough. There's going to be enough to paint it. And I said, okay, Lord, you know, I want to know. And about that time, Miss Lovelace, she had a little old screwdriver in her hand. She finally got that lid off that pint. And it was just a little pint of paint, you know. And she opened it up. Turn my defroster back on. And she finally got that lid open. And she goes, there's not going to be enough paint in this can, honey, to paint that back porch. And I said, Miss Lovelace, I said, the Lord spoke to me before you open that can. And He told me that I was to pray for that can of paint. And the Lord was going to bless it. And there's going to be enough to paint that concrete porch back there. And not only that, but your concrete steps and that wood bench. And Miss Lovelace, she just smiled at me. And she said, that's nice, honey. When you run out of paint, let me know. And we'll go to Walmart and get some more. So I took the can of paint from her and I looked in the bottom of it. There wasn't 2 inches in the bottom of that pint. I'm talking, what would that be? 2 little Dixie cup fulls of paint? I don't know, not much at all. 2 inches in the bottom of a pint, okay? Not a gallon, not a half gallon, a pint. 2 inches in the bottom of a pint. I looked at that, I was like, oh Lord, you know. So I went on in the backyard, you know, and now, you know, I was over that little can of paint there, and I was like, Lord God, I want to know if this is you talking to me, Lord, or if it's just some thoughts or idea I have in my head. I need to know, Lord. So I pray, Lord God, that you'd bless this little bit of paint, this can here, Father. There'd be enough to paint this whole porch and them steps and even that wood bench over there, Lord God. About that time, Miss Lovelace, she comes out. She hands me a paint pan and a paint stick and a roller, brand new paint roller. So she just smiles at me, you know, and hands me the stuff, and I get that old paint and old paint can there, and I poured into that paint pan, and there wasn't really a whole lot in that paint pan. It wasn't enough. I mean, it might have been enough to paint that wood bench, you know, but that's about it. If you ever painted concrete, you know, concrete just soaks into paint. It just sucks it up, you know. So here I am. I've opened my mouth now. And I don't care if this little old lady thinks I'm crazy or not, to tell you the truth. I want to know if God's talking to me, you know. So I get that old paint roller and I start sopping it around that pan and get that old brush wet, you know, a roller wet. And I start rolling and rolling and rolling. I'm about halfway finished with that concrete porch. And I'm impressed. I'm like, God, the paint is still here. And I keep rolling and rolling and rolling. And this ain't a small porch. It's a pretty good sized porch, okay? And so, excuse me, I keep rolling. And I get done with that entire porch. I'm like, wow, this is impressive. And the paint's still there in the pan. I begin to roll those concrete steps and finish the steps. I think it was 2 or 3 concrete steps leading up to this concrete porch, okay? And they were concrete too. And there was an old wood bench sitting on that porch. And man, I kid you not, I painted that wood bench also. And that wood bench, oh, it was probably enough to seat 4 or 5 people on that wood bench. You know, and when I got done, I was so excited. I hollered at Miss Lovelace, "Miss Lovelace, come on out here. I got something to show you," you know. And she hobbled on out there, and I don't know who was more amazed, her or me. But that little old lady's mouth dropped to the floor. Total amazement. We were both happy. We really were. And she knew it was a miracle, and so did I. And but anyway, I just wanted to share that story with you guys to let you know that God really does speak to His people and to His children and those that love Him and believe in Him. You know, He speaks to you through His Word, through your thoughts, in your dreams. Sometimes He just speaks to you. You know, I know the people know what I'm talking about. He really does speak to you, and He just loves us so much. You know, in my whole, a lot of my Christian life, instead of just believing and having faith in the goodness of God, I began to get into works, trying to figure out everything that I could do so I could be accepted by God. If everything was okay between me and God, you know, that's all I cared about. You know, am I okay? Am I okay? Am I doing right? Am I doing right? And all this time, the Lord has been telling me, Harold, I am well pleased in the faith that you have in my Son Jesus Christ and what He's done for you and will do for you. That pleases God. Faith in His Son. Anyway, I just wanted to share that little story with you guys. God bless you. I'll tell some more stories later on. Thanks.